Lizzy has the ability to print your checks out of your checking account, and in order to do that, you need to set up the type of check you have, and then most likely you'll have to tweak things to get it to print perfectly on the page. So the first thing to do is to actually get the printable checks. We have the ones generally that tear, the check prints at the top, and then it has the two receipts under it that tear off. These are the standard checks that we support in Lizzy, but when we're through with this demo, you'll see that you actually can print literally any kind of check by using the processes here. So the first thing is we've gone to settings, and then we've clicked on accounting and then check printing. The first thing we want to do is select the account that we want to set up to print checks for. So you can actually have different types of checks that print for different checking accounts. And you can also, once you set one up, you can copy from one that you've set up to another if they're identical checks. So when we select our options down here at the bottom, or I'm sorry, at the top, to select what type of check we want, that is going to set your default. So that's going to kind of get you close to where you want to be. And so what I recommend doing is set the thing for your type of check, go over to the checking account and tell it to print a check. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. You just go over here to checking, view your register, and you can reprint existing checks. Basically, you just click on the heading here for the check, and then right here we have print check, and that'll actually open a PDF to print a copy. I recommend printing that on a blank piece of paper and then holding it up to the light against one of your checks so that you can actually see what everything looks like. So I'm going to go back over here to settings and accounting check printing. So what ends up happening is when you hold it up to the light, you see that the amount is a little bit lower than it's supposed to be, and maybe it's a little bit to the left than it's supposed to be. So what you want to do is come through here and tweak things, and this is where it takes a little bit of time it's not really that much time, but it takes a little bit of experimentation here to get everything perfect. But the first thing is whether you want to print your logo on the check or if it already has your logo on it. If you do, you can upload your logo to the system, tell it to print the header, and then you tell it the X and Y coordinates of where it's going to print. Now, to explain X and Y, if you started at this box here and we called this top left corner 0, 0, X is going to be to the right, Y is going to be down. So if I were to say an X of 1 and a Y of 1, I'm going to basically move over 1 inch from here, and I'm going to move 1 inch down. And so I'm going to end up printing something here, and that's going to represent the bottom of whatever text I'm printing. So the text actually prints just above wherever I pick. So looking down here at the bottom, we have our font type that we want to use for the check printing, what size font we would like to use, and then down here we have our different settings. So this is all there is to working with the check. So the first thing is the pay to, our X and our Y. So this is going to be to the right, and this is going to be down from the top. So if it's a little bit high, then I would make this number bigger. If it's a little bit low, I'd make this number smaller. If it's a little bit to the left, I would make this number bigger, and if it's a little bit to the right, I would make this number a little smaller. So all you do is look at the paid to, the address, and then whether you want to print the address or not, the amount, the date, the printed amount, the detail, and then the detail for the stub 2. So these two lines are actually where the detail starts to print on each of the two sub things that print on the check. So you remember you got the check at the top and then the two detail sections in between or below it. So all you do is tweak these numbers, save it, go back over, print another check on a blank piece of paper, hold it up, see how things look, come back over here, tweak it again, get everything the way you want it. Now I recommend, and this may not be an issue any longer, it was early on, so I'll mention it. I recommend once you get the check printing set up and say you're using Chrome, that you always use Chrome to print. I in the a few years ago there used to be a problem if you opened up and printed from Firefox and then opened up and printed from Chrome, you would actually end up with slightly different offsets for everything. So you'd end up having to come back over here and tweak everything. So pick a browser. I recommend Chrome, but pick a browser and use that when you're doing your printing, just to make sure that everything consistently shows up the way you expect it to.